9 luxury brands are in serious trouble, and if the forecasts are right, they might not even survive 2026. The signs are already showing. Massive sales, unheard of discounts, and luxury bags being pushed out the door for prices so low they feel like typos. We're not talking end-of-season sale cheap. We're talking bags that once cost $400, $800, even $2,000 now selling for the price of a dinner. These brands are scrambling, trying anything to stay alive before the financial cliff hits. Some of them were icons, some were rising stars, and a few of them, nobody thought they'd ever struggle this badly. But the luxury market has flipped. Demand is shrinking, oversupply is exploding, and these 9 brands are fighting for their last breath by practically giving their bags away. So today, we're breaking down the 9 luxury brands most at risk of going bankrupt in 2026 and why they're suddenly flooding the world with ultra-cheap bags like it's their final clearance call. Let's start the countdown, beginning with number 9. Number 9, Fossil. Fossil has been wobbling for years, but 2025 pushed the brand into a full-on identity crisis, and now the fear of a 2026 collapse is very real. Here's the thing. Fossil was never true luxury, but it lived in that aspirational zone where the bags felt nicer than fast fashion, and the brand still had weight. They had good leather, clean designs, and that vintage meets modern aesthetic that made the brand feel timeless. But the problem was never the product, it was the market. The rise of smartphones demolished Fossil's watch revenue, which was the backbone of the entire company. For years, bag sales helped keep the corporation afloat, but by 2023, the cracks were showing. Demand softened, stores closed, Fossil's stock dropped. Then 2025 came along, and their bag division started spiraling too. Fossil found itself sitting on huge amounts of unsold inventory, and the brand began doing what struggling brands do. They discounted, then discounted again, then discounted so hard that some of their genuine leather bags were being sold for less than cheap synthetic ones. Buyers started noticing Fossil bags being thrown into flash sales, clearance events, and mega discount outlets at prices that made even mid-tier brands look expensive. Some shoppers reported finding Fossil totes for $20 to $30, brand new, in liquidation stores, a shocking drop from their usual $150 to $300 price point. The deeper issue? Fossil simply isn't resonating with younger buyers. Gen Z wants modern, minimal, or luxury light, and Fossil's classic, earthy vibe feels dated. Meanwhile, older loyal customers are aging out of trend-driven purchases. The new customer base just didn't show up. Combine that with falling stock value, shrinking retail presence, and a global shift in its leather goods spending, and suddenly, Fossil is looking disturbingly close to the 2026 danger zone. The brand isn't dead, not yet, but the bag giveaways, the steep discounts, and the frantic inventory clearing are all signs of a company trying to breathe through a financial chokehold. Fossil wobbling was one thing, but this next brand? This one is already halfway through the exit door. If Fossil is coughing, Ted Baker is lying on the floor whispering, "Tell everyone I fought hard." Number 8, Ted Baker. Ted Baker's fall isn't shocking, it's heartbreaking. This is the kind of luxury-like collapse you can only compare to watching a once popular kid suddenly sit alone in the cafeteria. The brand didn't just lose relevance, it lost its entire sense of direction. There was a time when Ted Baker had a real identity. You walked in a store and instantly felt the British charm, the quirky prints, the clean leather work, the handbags with just enough personality to make you smile. Ted Baker wasn't loud, but it had character. People bought the bags because they felt different, polished, and effortlessly stylish. Then everything started unraveling. The brand expanded too fast. Too many stores, too many collections, too many partnerships. They tried to play in the luxury space without the luxury infrastructure. And behind the scenes, Ted Baker was falling apart faster than anyone realized. The turning point? That disastrous accounting scandal, where the brand overstated profits by tens of millions. It destroyed investor confidence overnight. Customers began losing trust. Leadership panicked, and suddenly Ted Baker wasn't competing. It was surviving. After that, sales declined, retail traffic dropped, brand identity crumbled, and by 2023, the company officially collapsed into administration, the UK version of bankruptcy. A US company swooped in and bought the brand, promising a dramatic comeback. But instead of a comeback, the next 2 years became a slow bleed. By 2024 to 2025, Ted Baker's bag division turned into a dumping ground. Retail partners started sending back unsold stock by the truckload. Department stores slashed prices. Outlets became storage units for mountains of unsold bags. And then came the liquidation wave, the kind that tells you a brand isn't struggling, it's drowning. people began posting videos of entire racks of Ted Baker leather bags priced cheaper than fast fashion handbags. Bags that once sold for $300 were suddenly going for $32, even $15. Some liquidation stores were practically giving them away with buy two, get one deals just to clear space. The saddest part? The quality hasn't collapsed. The bags are still well made, but the brand lost cultural relevance. The quirky charm that once made Ted Baker unique feels outdated in a world obsessed with clean, minimal, quiet luxury. And younger buyers? They don't care. Ted Baker doesn't exist on their radar. Older, loyal customers? Many stopped shopping after the scandals. The brand is stuck between generations, with no identity strong enough to bridge either gap. The result is a brand that might not survive 2026 unless a miracle hits the fashion market. And believe it or not, the next brand on this list is an even deeper collapse. Number 7 isn't just struggling, it's unraveling in real time. Ready? Number 7, Aldo. Aldo used to feel unstoppable. It was the stylish, affordable alternative to luxury, the brand that gave you designer-inspired silhouettes without the designer price tag. For years, Aldo bags were the go-to for people who wanted something chic, structured, and trendy without dropping hundreds. But the thing about being the stylish alternative is that you have to stay stylish, and Aldo didn't. By the time 2023 rolled around, the brand started losing its edge. The designs that once felt modern suddenly looked dated. Fast fashion copied Aldo's styles faster and cheaper, leaving the brand stuck in a weird middle zone where its bags weren't luxurious enough to justify the price and not trendy enough to compete with Zara or H&M. Then came the real problem: overexpansion. Aldo opened too many stores, too fast, especially in malls, just as mall traffic began collapsing globally. When consumer footfall dropped, Aldo's in-person sales tanked, and their bag inventory, it piled up like a never-ending avalanche. By 2024 to 2025, Aldo was staring at a financial crisis. Quiet luxury was trending, minimalism was in, and Aldo's bag designs, with big gold plates, chunky logo pieces, glossy finishes, and imitation designer silhouettes, suddenly felt painfully out of sync. Buyers weren't interested. Retailers weren't reordering. Season after season, inventory just sat. And when inventory sits, a brand does what it must to survive. It dumps. Aldo bags that once retailed for $70 to $120 started appearing at liquidation outlets for $18. Brand new, wrapped, untouched. Some stores were even offering buy one bag, get one free deals, not as a promotion, but because they needed to clear room for incoming stock that would probably meet the same fate. On online wholesale sites, resellers began unboxing pallets filled with rows of Aldo crossbodies, totes, backpacks. All pristine, all heavily discounted, all signs of a brand quietly bleeding. The saddest part? Aldo isn't a bad brand. It just got stuck between pricing tiers and fashion cycles. It tried to be affordable luxury in a world that suddenly wanted real luxury or real bargains. Nothing in between. Now, analysts are genuinely questioning whether Aldo can survive beyond 2026 without drastic reinvention or a buyout. Aldo falling apart was messy, but Brand 6, this one is the fashion equivalent of hearing glass shatter in another room and knowing exactly which shelf collapsed. Because this brand didn't just lose momentum, it lost its identity, its market, and its grip on the luxury world all at once. Number 6, DKNY. DKNY's fall from relevance is one of the quietest yet most dramatic declines in the luxury-like category. This was a brand that once represented sleek New York energy, modern, sharp, urban, confident. In the 90s and early 2000s, carrying a DKNY bag felt like carrying a piece of the city. It was aspirational, stylish, and effortlessly cool. Then came the unraveling. DKNY struggled with the same killer combo that destroys mid-luxury brands: a messy identity shift, a rapidly aging customer base, and a complete failure to attract Gen Z. The brand tried to pivot with new logos, new silhouettes, more streetwear energy, more youthful campaigns, but none of it stuck. Meanwhile, the quiet luxury trend absolutely bulldozed DKNY's aesthetic. Buyers were gravitating toward minimalism and refined leather. DKNY was still pumping out loud branding, chunky metal hardware, canvas logos, and silhouettes that looked suspiciously like throwbacks to 2012. And that's just the style problem. The business side was even worse. DKNY's parent company, G3, has been struggling financially for years. Declining department store sales hit them hard. Their reliance on physical retail, especially in malls, became a major liability as foot traffic dropped across the US. Bags that were once easy sellers suddenly refused to move. Inventory ballooned. Retail partners began returning unsold shipments, The bags weren't moving at full price or half price, or sometimes any price. By 2025, the bag division reached crisis mode. Outlet stores were flooded, online flash sale sites were flooded, liquidation warehouses were flooded. Resellers started posting videos unboxing entire stacks of brand new DKNY bags bought for $25, even though those same bags were originally priced at $200. Some liquidation pallets were so full of DKNY that buyers joked the brand must have a lifetime subscription to bankruptcy. And the truly worrying part? DKNY's brand recognition is fading fast. Younger shoppers aren't buying. Older shoppers have moved on. And fashion-wise, the brand isn't defining trends anymore. It's chasing them from 2 years behind. Unless DKNY finds a way to rebuild its identity and shrink its bloated inventory pipeline, analysts genuinely believe the brand could be heading toward a financial breaking point in 2026. DKNY slipping was predictable, like watching someone try to run on ice. But Brand 5? This fall is different. This one didn't crumble slowly. It got hit by a trend, a lawsuit, a reputation shift, and a full-on PR meltdown, all at once. And now they're giving bags away at prices that make you wonder if they're clearing inventory or confessing defeat. Number 5, Juicy Couture. Yes, Juicy Couture, the brand that once ruled the world with velour tracksuits, shiny gold zippers, and that iconic crowned logo that felt like teenage royalty. People forget this now, but Juicy's handbag line used to be massive. The Daydream pink totes, the charm-covered satchels, the chunky hardware. It was early 2000s luxury candy. And then 2025 slapped Juicy back into reality. Juicy's problem isn't oversupply, it's relevance decay, and it hit with the force of a meteor. Here's what happened. When Y2K nostalgia started trending again in 2022, Juicy got excited. They thought the comeback was real and scaled up production for both apparel and bags. For a minute, it worked. Influencers wore velour. TikTok girls held mini Juicy totes ironically. Gen Z treated it like a thrift store treasure. But nostalgia trends burn fast, and Juicy bet too big. By 2024, the Y2K hype evaporated. The charm-heavy, rhinestone-covered bags suddenly felt costumey. The very thing that made Juicy iconic became the thing keeping modern shoppers far, far away. To make it worse, a string of counterfeit scandals hit the brand. Trendy marketplaces were flooded with fake Juicy bags that were sometimes better looking than the real ones. And when the fakes start outperforming the originals, that's when a brand loses control. Then came the licensing drama. Juicy doesn't control its own destiny anymore. Various companies hold its licensing rights worldwide. Translation: no central vision, no unified brand direction, no consistent quality, just random companies pushing out random Juicy bags, hoping something sticks. By late 2024, retailers were begging to offload stock. 2025, they weren't begging, they were dumping. Juicy bags that originally retailed for over $100 started appearing in discount chains for $10, $15. Some liquidation buyers were literally finding 20 Juicy bags in a single pallet, all brand new, all dead stock. All part of the brand's nostalgia bubble that popped instantly. And that's why Juicy sits at number 5. Not because it's dead, but because it's drifting, spinning, and giving its bags away like party favors just to stay visible. Juicy Couture was a nostalgia crash. But the next brand on our list? This one is a corporate tragedy. The kind where you read the headlines twice just to make sure it's real, because this brand's bag division isn't just struggling, it's disappearing from the inside out. Number 4, All Saints. All Saints was once one of the coolest names in contemporary luxury. The brand had vibe, distressed leather, moody lighting, minimalist silhouettes, and that signature London rocker chic aesthetic. Their bags, especially the Kita, Captain, and Marlin styles, were everywhere. If you saw someone with an All Saints leather bag, you automatically assumed they drank oat milk cortados and listened to indie bands you hadn't heard of yet. But here's the twist. All Saints' downfall has nothing to do with trends. It's a financial implosion hiding behind a cool aesthetic. By 2023, All Saints had piled up enormous debts, the kind of debts that make accountants sweat through their shirts. The brand barely escaped bankruptcy once already. Their rescue deal left them fragile, short on cash, and fully dependent on accessories to keep revenue flowing. Then 2024 hit and leather prices skyrocketed. All Saints bags rely heavily on premium sheep and calf leather, which is expensive to produce and even more expensive to source when markets shift. Raw material inflation crushed their margins. Suddenly, every bag they made cost way more than customers were willing to pay. Instead of adjusting, All Saints made the worst possible move. They kept producing the same bags at the same volumes, but customers could feel the shift. The leather quality varied. Stitching changed. hardware became lighter, and fans noticed. Once the it girl minimalism brand, All Saints slowly developed a reputation for inconsistency, the death sentence for any leather-led company. Then their US wholesale business collapsed. Nordstrom and Bloomingdale's, two of their biggest accounts, dramatically cut orders. Why? Because All Saints bags weren't selling. Not at $300, not at $250, sometimes not even at $150. Retailers hate slow movers. So what did they do? They dumped them. By 2025, liquidation centers were swimming in All Saints bags. Perfectly good leather bags for $25, sometimes even $19. Shoppers were stunned because these were bags that used to sit at between $298 to $389. The real danger? All Saints relies on accessories to stay alive. When bags stop selling, the brand's financial oxygen disappears. If the bleeding doesn't stop soon, analysts are predicting a second bankruptcy filing by late 2026, which would hit the bag division the hardest. And that's why All Saints lands at number 4, a cool brand collapsing not from trends, but from the brutal financial math behind the scenes. All Saints collapsing under financial pressure was bad. But number 3? This one is the kind of downfall that luxury insiders gossip about over drinks, because this brand didn't just stumble, it walked straight into its own trap and then set the trap on fire. Number 3, Rebecca Minkoff. Rebecca Minkoff used to be a powerhouse in the cool, attainable luxury niche. There was a time when you couldn't walk through a city without spotting the Mini Max swinging from someone's shoulder. The bags had personality, feminine but edgy, youthful but polished, trendy but not cheap. They fit perfectly into that space between high-end designer and fast fashion, and it worked beautifully for more than a decade. But the fall didn't happen because the bags went out of style. Happened because the brand itself drifted away from its customers. Rebecca Minkoff tried to transform into a tech-first fashion label. Suddenly, everything was about innovation. Smart mirrors, digital-enhanced stores, virtual try-ons, crypto partnerships, a whole push into the future of shopping. It sounded exciting on paper, but the people who loved Rebecca Minkoff weren't looking for a tech revolution. They just wanted cute, well-made leather bags that fit their lifestyle. The brand chased technology while the product quietly slipped out of focus. Retail partners noticed, customers noticed, the buzz faded, and as the brand poured money into these futuristic projects, the actual core business, the bags, started losing ground. Then the economic pressure hit, inflation, shifts in spending habits, fewer people splurging on mid-luxury, and a crowded accessories market made things even worse. Rebecca Minkoff's signature pieces suddenly felt stuck in another era, and the new releases weren't strong enough to recover momentum. By late 2024, the cracks were visible. By 2025, they weren't cracks anymore. They were full-blown fractures. The brand was sitting on stock. Retail partners were stuck with bags that weren't moving. And the easiest way to convert inventory into cash is simple: dump it. And dump it they did. Suddenly, Rebecca Minkoff bags that once sold for $250 or $300 were showing up at deep discount stores for prices so low, people were double-checking the tags. Liquidation centers were unboxing whole stacks of untouched crossbodies. Online buyers were finding brand new Minkoff bags priced lower than fast fashion pieces. It wasn't a sale, it was a signal. The brand that once defined cool girl luxury is now struggling to stay visible and desperately clearing out inventory just to keep the lights on. But trust me, if Rebecca Minkoff shocked you, this next brand is even uglier. The kind of collapse that people said would never happen. Ready? Number 2, Tory Burch. Tory Burch was once the queen of polished luxury for the modern woman. The moment you saw that double T medallion, you knew exactly what the brand stood for. Classy, structured, upscale, elegant, but still accessible. A Tory Burch bag used to be a badge of taste. Not flashy, not cheap, just elevated. Then the world changed, and Tory Burch did not keep up. Here's the unexpected twist. Tory Burch didn't fall because people stopped liking leather bags. It fell because the brand became trapped by its own logo. For years, the giant T logo sold everything: crossbodies, totes, satchels, even the famous flats. That symbol brought in millions. But around 2023, the big logo era died. Suddenly, buyers wanted quiet luxury, clean designs, subtle details, and bags that whispered wealth instead of screaming it. Tory Burch didn't whisper, it shouted. And just like that, the brand became the fashion equivalent of someone still yelling YOLO at a party everyone else left years ago. But the real hit came from the inside. The wholesale business, once Tory Burch's cash cow, collapsed. Department stores cut orders dramatically. Some retailers reported entire shelves of Tory bags barely moving. And when a brand depends on wholesale and wholesale stops buying, the entire company feels the earthquake. To make matters worse, Tory Burch overproduced during the post-pandemic boom, assuming demand would stay sky high. It didn't. By 2024, the brand was drowning in unsold inventory, thousands of totes, camera bags, and logo-stamped pieces sitting in warehouses. That's when the panic started. Tory Burch began quietly pushing bags into secondary channels, outlets, discount sites, and liquidation buyers. Suddenly, a $400 shoulder bag was popping up for $69, and in a few extreme cases, even under $40. Social media shoppers were shocked. Fashion TikTok joked that Tory Burch turned into the new Michael Kors overnight. And the emotional blow? Younger shoppers simply don't care about the brand anymore. The logo reminds them of suburban mom aesthetic. The styles feel too safe. The storytelling isn't exciting, and nothing feels new. It's not just a sales problem. It's a cultural disappearance. That's why Tory Burch sits at number 2, still alive, but coughing, stumbling, and dumping bags at prices that feel like farewell letters. But if Tory Burch is number 2, imagine how chaotic, unbelievable, and dramatic number 1 is. This next brand might actually collapse, and the reasons will blow your mind. Ready? Number 1, Balenciaga. Balenciaga should not be here. We're talking about one of the most influential, culture-shifting fashion houses of the last decade. This brand dominated trends. It controlled the hype cycle. It reinvented luxury with ugly sneakers, oversized silhouettes, ironic logos, and meme-level virality. And then 2022 happened. The scandal, the backlash, the consumer revolt. Balenciaga's reputation didn't just take a hit, it fell off a cliff. Now, scandals come and go in fashion. But this one was different. It annihilated consumer trust at every level. Celebrities distancing themselves, influencers refusing PR, loyal fans selling their pieces overnight, and everyday buyers making a very public decision to never touch the brand again. The damage wasn't temporary, it was cultural. But here's where things get shocking. Balenciaga's bag division took the biggest blow. Before the scandal, Balenciaga bags were everywhere. The Hourglass, the Neoclassic, the Kagol, the City Revival, the Le Kagol XS that every influencer owned. These bags were shaping the entire Y2K revival. After the scandal, sales dropped by double digits. Retailers froze orders. Some stores quietly removed bags from shelves. Others sent excess stock back to distributors. Suddenly, Balenciaga, the brand that once controlled trends, was sitting on mountains of inventory. Inventory no one wanted to be seen carrying. And when a luxury brand sits on too much stock, there's only one escape hatch: dump it. By 2025, Balenciaga bags were slipping into discount channels. Whispers of outlet drops spread online, and resellers noticed something unbelievable. A bag that used to sell instantly for over $2,000 was now struggling to move at $700, then $500, then $350. Some liquidation suppliers even started offering mixed pallets with Balenciaga stock in them, something unthinkable just a few years ago. But here's the killer blow. Balenciaga's attempt at a comeback hasn't convinced the public. Consumers still feel weird about the brand, influencers won't touch it, celebrities keep their distance. And Gen Z, the group Balenciaga relied on, wants authenticity, not controversy. That puts Balenciaga in the danger zone. This is the first time in its modern history that Balenciaga's bag division isn't just slowing, it's bleeding. If the brand doesn't pull off a miraculous cultural reset, 2026 could become the year one of fashion's biggest powerhouses faces a financial reckoning. And that's why Balenciaga is our number 1. The most shocking, the most dramatic, and the most believable luxury collapse heading into 2026. And there you have it. 9 luxury brands that are wobbling, stumbling, and in some cases, practically begging the market to take their bags before the clock runs out. Some of them might survive, some might reinvent themselves, and a few, 2026 might be their final chapter. If any of these shocked you, or if you're now wondering whether to scoop up cheap bags before they disappear for good, tell us in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stick around for more deep dives into the wild world of luxury.